a podcast pregame where today's podcast will come at you sometime in the afternoon. And this hair is a mess. I got to get it cut, and a lot sooner than you think. And I may even go a bit drastic, so keep that in mind as we get into a weekend. But yeah, this is anyway, enough of that. I just want to say a couple of quick things before I talk about the podcast, which again, Apple, Spotify, right here on YouTube. I would say around between 12:30. And for those who joined me on the live stream yesterday, another thanks. I know you guys are sick and tired of me thanking those who hopped on board, but it was as lively. It was just a fun hour and a half. I enjoyed it thoroughly. Looking forward to next week's live stream where I'll have a giveaway, and I even want to talk about having you guys who contribute jumping on board every week to be a part of the live stream where we'll banter back and forth. I have you on video because I can send you a separate link for you to join. So I'll have that to cover in next week's live stream. So be on the lookout for a lot of, well, more so next week, but be on the lookout for some previews of that among many other things. But as far as today's podcast, it is going to be slim pickings because Monday's podcast, I talked about everything. You had a little NBA stuff, some NHL, not a lot. I probably spent a minute on that. NBA, 2-3 minutes? I even forgot what I was talking about then, but I did touch on that. We had the golf, the Open Championship, which I unpacked. We had the Dustin Poirier fight, him going over to retirement. Also talked about none other than Val. What's going on, my man? None other than the scenario with Manny Pacquiao. So there was that. And yeah, it was a lot to talk about on the podcast Monday, where today's podcast, although there's going to be a lot to delve into, especially when it comes to baseball, where a lot of developments over the last 24 hours. I know your Giants, yes. Your Giants did win yesterday, won 2 out of 3. Devers hit 2 home runs. And Justin Verlander got a win, yes. Hi back to you, Val. Appreciate it. And it's 6:36 on the West Coast right now. So I know you're up early, so I appreciate you stopping by. But, and of course, appreciate you yesterday. I said a thank you to all those that jumped in the room yesterday and contributed. But for the baseball, Tigers get swept by the Pirates. The Guardians, now all of a sudden they're hot as they won, I believe, 11 of 13. Now they've beaten up the White Sox and teams like that, but give it up. They've actually played very well. They did sweep the Astros. I got to give them that in Houston during this stretch where they've won 11 of 13. But Jordan, what's going on? Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. And for what's going on with sports, pineapple on pizza, Mamastroso. I like pineapple on pizza. I don't think that's a problem. I know a lot of people do have an issue with that. Lumbee, what's going on? Thanks for stopping by. What makes me smooth? I don't know. Right now I'm looking a little rough here. The hair and I need to shave, all that. And yes, Baseball Purist, what's up, my guy? As you know, the brooms are broken out for the Mets. But as far as the podcast, Justin Verlander did get his first win as a Giant. I know it was 0-8. And now, all of a sudden, maybe, who knows, he'll start a little streak, and the Giants need it because if the Giants are trying to get to the top of the NL West or even just to get into a wild card, they're going to definitely need him down the stretch. But with all that being said, like I mentioned, podcast today, a lot of baseball. Like I said, Tigers are all of a sudden slumping big time. Yankees defense, I was going to get to that. Yankees being sloppy. I know the errors. Even Max Fried was a good fielder and won a few Gold Gloves, and he had a big error there yesterday. And for the Guardians, who have played well, the Mets are in first place. Half a game, I get it, what the word smooth means. I mean, depends on what you're referring to. Smooth as in silky smooth. Smooth as in as smooth as a baby's bottom. Who knows? She'll walk out if nothing changed at the deadline. Listen, I know if Fried, and you can't knock him. He was an all-star. He's pitched well. He hasn't pitched well of late. The 2 games in Toronto over the last 3 weeks, he's not fared well. So if you're a Yankee fan, I know you're not going to be worried about him overall, but at the same time, yes, smooth operator. I like that Baseball Purist, Sade. And I try to be smooth, Jordan. I mean, what can I tell you? But how I look at it is, baseball right now, you have the Brewers overtaking the Cubs in the division, NL Central. So, and yes, Chapman, as well as Rafael Devers, hit the 2 home runs there yesterday, Val. So I'm sure that's got to bode well for your team as they play the Mets now this weekend. So it's my team versus your team. And yeah, I'm going to talk about that. And I'm also going to talk about the NFL training camps, which opened yesterday. And I'm going to go through all 32 teams. Now, I'm not going to make any predictions. It's way too early to do that. I'll save that for the NFL preview. But just these storylines and objectives where these camps are opening, with all the player movement, with all of the promise, all the hope, because with training camp opening up, I'm sure every fan in the 32 cities that have a team, they are having visions of maybe a good season, a playoff season, or even a Super Bowl season. Now, that may not count in certain parts, whether that be in Tennessee, whether that be in, yeah, I'll say it, Chicago, even though I know Ben Johnson, a new coach, etc. And exactly, good game for Devers, as we talked about. But yeah, I'm going to go through a lot of the objectives for the NFL teams as we get into camp. I'll go through all the divisions, and I'm just going to give like quick one-hitters or one-liners, maybe expound on a couple of things, but nothing to the extent where I'm going to go like in depth to say, oh, I think this team's going to do this season, this upcoming season, or I'm going to predict them to do that. No. I'm saving that for the preview, which when you think about it, it's going to be 6 weeks from today. That's when the NFL season begins. That's when I have my NFL preview. I'm going to work to see if I get a guest on. I'm trying to get guests on not as I'm chatting, but at the same time. And yes, Willie Adames is playing well. So for the NFL fan, and no bashing the NFL, because everybody knows I have a thing, not that I dislike or can't stand the NFL, I just don't like that they suck all the oxygen out of the sports room. And I get it. It is a shield, the impenetrable one, as I say all the time. And for them to be at a point where now it's part of our consciousness, and I get it that games that matter aren't for another month and a half, but people are going to be all over it. And then with the fantasy football and with the leagues and drafting, which is not going to be to the end of August, but still, you're going to hear a lot of chatter between now and then about the NFL, and especially during this dead period where baseball, to guys like me, Val, baseball purists, we're all over it. But for those who can't stand baseball or think baseball's boring or look at it as like, it's an old sport, it's an old man sport, whatever, so they're going to look at the NFL or college football. They're going to gravitate to that. So, all right, fine. Because nobody's going to get into the WNBA, and I have a commentary video, which I'm still in the middle of editing, which I plan to post. I know I said I was going to do it this morning, but I had a lot of distractions. And as you can see, I'm not even at my desk getting ready to record. I'm actually out here as I dropped the wife off at the train. And it's a situation where now I'm going to run back, get recording, get started with the podcast so I can have it up by noon, 12:30 the latest, so it could be on Apple, Spotify, all the platforms. And for those who haven't subscribed, please do so. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, for those who are on or have jumped on this live, please do so. I sincerely appreciate it. So for the podcast, that's going to be it. It's going to be majority baseball and NFL, because there's nothing else to discuss about the other sports, which is fine, because whatever the sports world giveth, I will taketh, put it on video, in audio form, package it, and present it to everyone out there who likes, loves, the casual, the diehard, the good sports fan, even the kook sports fan like yours truly, and everybody who joins, especially the baseball purist, Val, everybody. I know Jordan was talking about how smooth things are. All right, a little bit different, but that's fine. And that's about it. I don't know, is there anything else I should bring up on the podcast today? Please let me know. I'll probably be on for another no more than 5 minutes so I can get back home, get recording, get that on and popping, and away we go. NFL, not MLB. Let me see what you got there, Val. I know the sun is shining in. 49ers, what will they do? It's interesting about the Niners because they had a lot of turnover. A lot of players left, whether via trade, free agency. But they had a very good draft. They drafted a lot of defensive players. And I think they're going to have a good year. That division is wide open. The Rams aren't great. They're good. The Seahawks, Sam Darnold. I think the Niners, I think they'll have a good season. I don't know where they're going to end up just yet. I won't be surprised if they win the division, of course. But then again, I won't be surprised if they're a wild card team. So as we get deeper into the summer and right before the start of the year, I'll have a much better feel. Brock Purdy got his money, as you know. And Jawan Jennings, I know he's out. Well, he's the next guy that's, hey, pay me or what, I want to request a trade. I mean, it's Jawan Jennings. I mean, he's not T.O. He's not Jerry Rice. Come on. So, baseball purists, check out Francisco Lindor. I'm sorry. Oh, they have a podcast? Well, I know they did that New Balance commercial. I saw that, which I thought was really cool. I didn't realize that a podcast. I got to check that out. And as a matter of fact, I will do that, baseball purist. And maybe I will talk about that definitely by next Wednesday's live stream. But I'll take a screenshot. Hold on, just so I won't forget that popped up. Yeah, because I know, obviously, Lindor wears New Balance, and I believe Action Bronson has a partnership or a sponsorship by New Balance. So, of course, it makes sense. Bronson being from Queens, Lindor playing in Queens, the two link up. So, yeah, I definitely got to check that out. Is that just one podcast, Baseball Purists, or is that like a series? Like, are they just do an interview back and forth, or is it something that they're going to keep doing, let's say, the rest of the baseball season? All right, Val. Yeah, hope 49ers do well. Jennings saw him at camp yesterday. Oh, so he did report. All right. So, and listen, they need all the wide receiver help they could get because remember, Deebo Samuel gone. Brandon Ayuk is still on the mend from the ACL. I don't even know. I would think he'd probably be ready for the start of the year, but, you know, ACLs are tricky. So we got to see what's going to happen with him. We know George Kittle, he's the tight end. So, yeah, I think the Niners will have a good year. Christian McCaffrey stays healthy, and to me, he's the catalyst of that offense. If he stays healthy and is able to churn out his yards and be the two-way player that he is, I think the Niners will have a big year. And defensively, I think they'll be fine. Lindor starting a podcast similar to Mookie Betts. All right. Yeah, I'll definitely check that out. Now, baseball purists, I know you're obviously, with your title, you're a big baseball guy. How do you feel about athletes having these podcasts? Because and I get it, they're athletes. They're going to ask the softball questions. They're going to have, oh, you do, Val? That's cool. They're not going to ask the hard question. Like if I knew I had these guys on my podcast, not that I'm going to drill them with hard questions, but, I'm going to ask the tough question. Like, for instance, let's say with Lindor, we could talk about the 2016 World Series. They had a 3-1 lead against the Cubs, and they lost that series. That's not really a hard question, but it's something I'm sure he doesn't want to relive or have to think about again. And granted that he played in Cleveland at the time, now he's in New York. Or even talk about last year, the tough losses. The tough loss to San Diego, a series that they should have won in the wild card a couple years back. And maybe even the whole process of him being traded, leaving Cleveland. Questions like that I, as a fan, want to know. Because when I'd seen Mookie Betts, I believe he had Aaron Judge on his podcast, but that's going to be, he's not going to delve into anything that's controversial or anything that's going to be, oh, wow. I definitely want to hear what he has to say about that. They're not going to go there. Where someone like myself, and listen, I'm not trying to be Walter Cronkite. I'm aging myself. I'm not trying to be the guy that is going to ask a controversial question but I'm going to address certain things. Like, for instance, if I had Aaron Judge right now sitting next to me, I'm going to be like, hey, do you still think about that drop fly ball in Game 5 of the World Series? I understand he doesn't want to relive that and doesn't want to talk about it, but, fans want to know. Because Judge will either say, yeah, I think about it all the time because I want to get back to the World Series and whatever, or it's like, you know what, it's over and done with, it's in the past. But I'm sure fans still want to know if he has nightmares in the middle of the night thinking about that drop fly ball, which was the catalyst for the Dodgers to have that big inning and really the play of that inning, despite the fact Judge's drop fly ball and Anthony Volpe making that errant throw to third, which was his only play there, but was Garrett Cole not covering first base. Because if he covered first base, got the out, they would have got out of the inning. It was 5-0, as it was a run scored. Then you had Freeman get the base hit to make it 5-3, and then you had Teoscar Hernandez get the double to tie the game, and as we all know, the rest is history. So, Let me see. Baseball purists. I hate them. They sound dumb. Oh, you talking about the Mookie Betts, Aaron Judge thing? Yeah, I like real people with real problems, grinding views and likes. No doubt. And that's what I'm trying to do. As you know, I'm the little engine that could, and the little engine that's trying. That's why I'm just trying to be more visible, be more out there, especially with the live stuff to interact. Listen, I'm not, am I going to be Kai Cenat one day? Absolutely not. But, for the people that follow, for the diehards, I'm still trying to think of a name, my Reels Rockers or Reels Rascals. I mean, that sounds kind of corny, but, I just like Nicki Minaj has her following, whatever they call them, or the Bay Hive and all. Yeah, I want to have my own hive. And obviously, the more I put out content and the more I put out live streams and things of that nature, of course, it's going to happen. So that's it. And this is what I love to do. And obviously, this is my full-time job, talking sports and being able to, I'm just looking around, making sure that people aren't trying to get out of parking spots. Yeah, that is what I'm trying to do. Just carve a path, blaze a trail in this lane that I'm doing, and away I go. So, and I appreciate you baseball purists, and I appreciate everybody, the Vals, even the Jordan Washington saying, hey, how do I define smooth? People want to jump on board, they say whatever. If they want to troll, people are going to do what they're going to do. You know what? But, hey, Action Bronson told Lindor he lost a line cook job. Oh, yeah. Oh, I didn't realize that. I did remember he had that promo, I'm sure you saw it, where he's taking batting practice at Citi Field. And I think in that he was talking about, or maybe it was something prior to that. Maybe it was that Lindor blurb that I saw, but I didn't realize it was a podcast. Just kind of zoomed right through it. But no, I'm definitely going to check that out. I do want to see that. So, but yeah, I hear you. You want people who love what they do to talk about what they do, and if they have guests in the process, to unpack those things. Because, again, as fans, that's what we want to hear. And just like my podcast, just like the live stream and everything I do, it's made by a sports fan for the sports fan. That's it. I'm not trying to do it to get clickbait and try to get 1 million followers and just talk nonsense or the regurgitated narratives. And yeah, I understand that there are lightning rods for whether it's teams, people, players, athletes, etc. Everybody's going to talk about LeBron James. Everybody's going to talk about Patrick Mahomes. Everybody's going to talk about, those type of players, the Travis Kelce's, with Taylor Swift or whatever. But it's a thing where, yeah, I'm real with my sports talk. And I will not do anything to interfere or lose that integrity, because I've been watching sports since birth. I've been following sports, and I got my 10,000 hours and more, and I'm putting that sucker to use. Because as much as we could talk about what's happening in the modern day with sports, and I get it, you have a lot of people that think sports started in 2010. I'm taking that sucker back to when I was a boy in the 70s, and if I have to, because that's where the real sports, and that's where a lot of the history gets lost, and I'm not willing to let go of that history. And I understand. We got to talk about the moment, the time, the games, the situations, whatever. I get that. But people run away. They want to compare this era to that era. Or, oh, this player couldn't play in this era, so on and so on. It's like nonsense. So, and that's what I'm here for. Because although the young sports fan, I can't knock what they're doing. If they want to have the clickbait titles and talk about the same thing over and over, that's on them. And they may have their following and whatever, millions of followers, like some of the guys I've shouted out as far as their channels go. But at the same time, that's what they want to do. Let them do that. But if I'm going to call them out or shout them out on that, I have a right to do that. Just like people have a right to publicly criticize me for what it is that I say or do. And I'm open for that. And I'm a big boy and I can handle that. So, because what I'm saying is deep in my gut and my core and my belief, not just saying it to say it and then having to deal with the consequences afterwards. So I know I'm kind of babbling and rambling here, but yeah. But no, I'll definitely check that out, Baseball Purist. Looking forward to seeing that. And I love Action Bronson too. To me, he's one of the last few guys that truly, when it comes to hip hop, is of the art, the essence. Now, I'm not trying to say he's the best lyricist out there. I'm not trying to say whatever, but when it comes to the music, when it comes to the art form, he's true to it. And because of that, I got mad respect for him. As we all know, and I understand I'm going to sound like the old man here, a lot of the rap scene, in my eyes, is straight garbage. I'm not into the trap. I'm not into those beats. They do nothing for me. I'm a boom bap guy, tried and true, and I get it. I'm going back to now the 70s and 80s with hip hop. But that's just me. But there's like, if people got good beats and rhymes, whatever. But the mumble, same repetitive nonsense trap beats does absolute goose egg for me. So, what can I tell you? But that's it, people. Let me get going here as I conclude this podcast pregame. I know I talked about other things. I'm glad that Baseball Purists privy to the scenario regarding this Action Bronson thing. In fact, I'm going to watch that, and maybe I'll hit you up later on. I'll try to watch it today because obviously with the podcast and putting it out, and I got a bunch of other things going on, but I'll make sure to be on top of that so when the next time we meet through the live stream, we'll unpack that. All right, so that'll do it. Any other news and notes, anything you want me to talk about today, please let me know in the next 60 seconds. But besides that, I appreciate all who hopped on board. Thank you so much for stopping by. As always, I can't thank you guys and gals enough. As always, subscribe, stay locked in. Apple, Spotify, the website, JAYREELZ.com, of course, here on YouTube at JAYREELZ. And yeah, another podcast coming at you. Obviously, a live stream next Wednesday, etc. And that's all I got. As always, in the blood and the DNA, talking sports is birth. You know the deal. You already know. From the South Bronx, South Beach, South Central, South Pacific, and all points beyond. Enjoy your day. Stay cool. It's going to get hot the next couple of days here, especially in New York. And Mets in first place. That's right. The Phillies do not play today. They actually play the Yankees tomorrow. And to think, I got to root for the Yankees over the weekend? I have to. I mean, put it this way. I said this yesterday. I'll say it again. I'm not rooting for the Yankees. I'm rooting for the Phillies to lose. So, because I'll never root for the Yankees to win. Never. Ever. That's right. As a Met fan, lifelong, and even living in the Bronx, never, ever root for the Yankees. I'm just rooting for the Phillies to lose. So, Alyssa, that's your address. What do you want me to do? I appreciate you stopping by, though. But with that said, people, I got a podcast to record, so let me be out. And not only that, I feel like there's like mad people here. There's a parking spot open there. Look, somebody left. Yeah, I'm showing you like what's around me here. So yeah, so before I get, Alyssa, you need a dress? Okay. I wish I could help you out. I don't know what type of dress. Wedding dress? Summer dress? Listen, I don't discriminate. Whoever wants to hop on board and say stuff, even though I'm about to bid adieu. But you know what? Have a great day. It's a pun. Oh, all right. Alyssa, I appreciate you. Thank you. All right. Went over my head. Need a dress. Yes, that's the address you just left there. You're from Detroit. Are you a Tiger fan? Do you like the Tigers? In fact, there's a guy in here, Baseball Purist, is thinking about moving to Detroit. What could you say? As far as the Motor City. And what's up with the water situation in Flint, Michigan? Have they ever solved that? Has that been done? I mean, it's been like a decade and a half. What's that say? They're great. Like Frosted Flakes. Stay downtown. Where downtown? Good food. Baseball Purists, are you still on? You're getting this. Alyssa, if you had to go to one sporting event in Detroit, would you go to a Lion game, Tiger game, Red Wing game, or Piston game? Good atmosphere, just stay off the side streets. Yeah, still a lot of shady stuff going on there. Listen, I live in New York City, so I know we're well-versed in shadiness. But I understand. What's the old saying? It ain't where you're from, it's where you're at. And if you're at the wrong place at the wrong time, that ain't going to look well. So you go to Tiger game, Comerica. All right. That's cool. Tigers, yes. It's struggling, though. That's going to be the first topic of my podcast today, which is coming around 12 noon, or at least the minute I get back to my apartment so I can start cooking. So I can get this live stream on. Speaking of cooking, the sun is just baking the back of my phone here. But, Alyssa, I'll be back on live next Wednesday. even if you want to throw more puns or whatever, I need to run because I got a podcast to record. But if you haven't subscribed, if you want to subscribe, I know it's sports. It's maybe not be in your wheelhouse or your interest. But if you jump in the room, and even if you want to throw puns or whatever it is, we'll talk whatever. Baseball Purist is in there. He knows. We talk about anything and everything. And maybe you could talk about other downtown spots in Detroit that could interest the baseball purist. Or if the Tigers get on a winning streak, we could jump on board and you could jump on board and we could talk about that in the chat room. What do you say? My love, I'm sub. Oh, I appreciate that, Alyssa. Thank you. I really do. I really do. And I do a live stream every Wednesday, 12 noon Eastern time. Just in case. I plan to do more stuff. You'll check the channel, as you'll see. And that's it. So, Alyssa, thank you. Baseball Purist, thank you. Val, thank you. Jordan Washington, thank you. Everybody who jumped on board. I see 5 people on. Again, goes without saying, profuse thanks to all who support this little engine that could, the channel that's just trying to continue to keep working, keep doing what I do, doing what I love to do, with nothing but energy, passion, fire, fury, thoughts, feelings, opinions, critiques, praise, analysis on anything and everything that's happening in sports. Let me sign off, people. Thank you so much once again. Stay cool. It's going to be hot in the Northeast, and I'm sure throughout the country. And until next time, as a matter of fact, Monday. After this, I promise I'll shut up and sign off. Monday will be the next podcast pregame, as I'll give you a preview of what that podcast is like. So even before I get to the live stream next Wednesday, the pregame on Monday, 9:30 Eastern, be there, be square. I know I was whack, but all right, people. Thank you so much. Signing off. Until next time on The Flip.